What's going on YouTube? I know it's been a little bit since I've hopped on here and kind of gave the channel some new content. So just kind of been going through a couple of updates with the no prep build. Obviously, as you can see, I do have a new body on here. Well, a new fresh 69 Nova body that I just painted. This is Spastics paint, which I love just because you get more volume per can. It is a little bit more expensive, but as if you painted any RC bodies, you'll know that any sort of like the little Tamiyas, you just kind of run out really quickly, and is really expensive. So if you're ever looking for some good metallic paint, I definitely would hit up Spastics. I'm still running the DEs in the rear. On my other videos, I was showing you some of the supplies that I use to make my wings. I did make a new wing for this car, just since it's kind of my newest addition. So kind of wanted to make it new, clean, simple. It's kind of like a little pro mod wing, I guess. Using a 0.03 thickness Lexan I just get off of Amazon. I did lower the car a little bit more, so as you can see, it's pretty low front and rear. I did unfortunately break my front 2.5 degree bulkhead. The car got a little squirrely up top, and the car took flight, and then when it landed sideways and sent it straight into a curb about 50, and then it jumped over the curb and then landed in some grass. I thought it was okay for the most part, but then after I put it down, the front end kind of got a little wobbly. The front end actually on this side was kind of going back and forth, so obviously it was broke. So luckily I had just a stock slash front bulkhead. I just threw it on there. I will say it's a little bit more stable at higher speeds with a less of a caster up front. But if I usually run my suspension relatively stiff up front, so it kind of is just there for just for going straight. So some people use a lot of weight transfer up front, like with the lighter spring, a lot of travel, which is fine. But I found for me what works best is having a stiff front end and just having the rear end work. So I'll take off this body here, kind of underneath. So what's kind of new under here, I'll actually take this off over here, move this up. All right, so what is new with the car? So obviously the Team Associated swapped spur gear is working phenomenally. I highly recommend swapping this out. I did see an update the other day from, I believe, Drag Race Concepts. So you can swap over to a Team Associated style slipper for a Traxxas transmission. And it's just, I believe it's just the shaft that I saw, just the top shaft. I don't know what they're going to do about all of the other, like the hubs and the pads and the spur gears, nuts, washer, spring, all that stuff. They may or may not sell it as a kit. I don't know, but I would stay tuned for them to see if they come out with anything as far as like a kit. That's what I would suggest going with. I am running a new ESC. I'm running a Black Box 510R from Reedy. Man, this ESC woke up this 4.5 turn motor that I'm running currently. I didn't have a whole lot of tuning before, and I was really looking to kind of step up my game to the next level as far as, turbo and boost and things like that, as far as parameters. And best bang for your buck that I found, I won't say that Hobbywing, the XR10 Pros aren't the greatest. But as far as, like I said, bang for your buck, I was just reading, and this one kind of stuck out to me. It's 100 consistent amps. One thing I will say is the wires are on the smaller side as far as the gauge. These are only 13 gauge wires. I would prefer 10 or 12 gauge, but I guess it really all doesn't matter as long as the current's going to the right place at the right draw and things aren't getting too bad. I've ran quite a few passes on this ESC, messing with the parameters. I did have to update the firmware on the ESC and the program card. I actually watched a couple of videos from my buddy he sent me of Mr. Schultz. He actually shows you how to update the firmware on both. On the video on YouTube, if you look it up, it's they do it on an 850, but it's pretty much the same for the 510 and 850. So another thing I did here was I added in a splitter. So this is actually the port that you update the ESC as far as programming goes, as far as tuning any sort of the boost, the turbo, the timing, all that stuff. It'll all go through here. And I have it ran to the back, and I actually have my GPS here kind of rigged up back here, and it's plugged in on the side. So it actually charges it as it's on, which is kind of cool. I just had an extra little splitter, and I just kind of put it back there. There's actually another a female connector here if I can rig up a fan for the motor, but I don't think it needs it so far. I think I got the gearing just right where it doesn't get too warm. Let's see what else that I did here. Oh, I did add some bracing here on the side. It was kind of flimsy as I found out testing, and I didn't want to break this Drag Race Concepts bar mount off. I mean, there's not really a whole lot holding it on. It's just literally 4 little screws on the bottom. So it's obviously 10 inches of wheelie bar. It'll kind of put a strain on it, but nonetheless, they're on there now. I mean, it's not going anywhere. All I did was kind of drill and tap the rear brace here, shock tower, and I ran a screw and a little nut through there, and bada bing, bada boom. It is secure. Yeah, and I'll actually show you this bulkhead that I swapped out. It's just the stock one, and I got my shocks. Not a whole lot of travel. I limited them on the inside. There's a little bit of give there, but not a whole bunch. Let's see here. Oh, and I did add the bumper back on just to, if I can add a little bit of weight up front. It was kind of coasting pretty good as far as getting up there. I did clock this new setup. I hit 60 miles an hour at this ESC actually has parameters in it where you can do the RPM memory. So with that little splitter back there, I'm able to plug in the box right here, and it goes to the ESC, and there's a bunch of parameters in here, and pretty much the last one on here is you'll actually hit OK a bunch of times, and then it'll take you to the log for the RPMs. So I hit 60 miles an hour. The SkyRC GPS is actually, what is it, about 2 miles an hour off. So I actually hit 59 miles an hour on the GPS, but it actually was probably close to 61. So I'm in the middle right there at 60 miles an hour. I was super happy to get to there, especially on these little bitty DEs, and there's no belts or anything in there. And they're, let's see if it'll focus here. It's pretty even across as far as tire wear. I don't have any sort of like crazy tire wear on it. So, but yeah, I was super happy with that. 60 miles an hour. I could not break like 52 miles an hour. But then once I got the new ESC, I was able to tap into the timing and the boost and the turbo and all that stuff. And it got me where I needed to be. But yeah, if you're looking for a good setup, I've been getting a lot of questions. What's a good solid setup to go with? And I highly recommend, if you want something that's easy to tune, good on price, good on tunability, I will suggest a Sonic Reedy 4.5 censored, obviously, and then a black box 510R, and it does come with like a little capacitor as well. And then you can buy this also as a kit. You can't buy these separate as of right now; they're back ordered. But if you buy it with the ESC itself, you can get it as a kit. They sell those still; those are still available. But yeah, if you're looking for a good solid setup, that's what I would recommend. And I'm still running Traxxas arms. I don't have any sort of crazy issues. The sway bar has been working great. The Proline Power Stroke shocks have been awesome. And I actually just purchased these recently. So these are what are they? Let's see. Here we go. These are CNHL 6600 milliamp, 120C, but 240C bursts. So you can actually go on to Amazon, and they're 5mm bullets. You can go on Amazon right now and buy 2 of these for $40 shipped to your door. I couldn't find a better deal than that. I mean, a 240C burst and 6600 milliamp hour. I literally went out one day and I have 4 of these, and I tested for quite a while, and I didn't even run one battery all the way down. Obviously, if your gearing's right and it's not getting too hot, it's not pulling too many amps, your battery should last a long time. But I mean, I can literally go out testing with 4 of these, maybe this little shorty pack, and I don't even have to take a charger with me anywhere. So it's a good buy if you're looking for a good starter pack for batteries. I would suggest buying 2 of these. They're 2S, obviously. Like I said, 5mm bullets, and you can actually reverse them. So on this side, there's the balancing port, and then obviously your negative and positive. But if you flip it over, there's no hole, obviously, for the middle one. So the way I run it is like this. So that's why I like that option. So thought I'd throw those in there. And another thing too is, I know a lot of people change their transmitters and things like that, but for me, I'm still using a top qualifier basic 2.4 gigahertz transmitter. And a lot of the guys that I race with, they're really surprised I'm doing pretty decent with a very, very cheap transmitter. Is it the best? No, I know that. So I'm just trying to upgrade the car as it goes. If I can get a new remote sometime next year, I will do so. But I'd rather put most of my money in my car before I get all fancy. I mean, because really, the transmitter, yes, there are a lot more parameters you can get with a new remote, but it's literally to steer it to go left and right, which you're not going to be doing a whole lot of, and gas, brake, reverse. That's literally it. So that's just my thing. That's just my thought on it. People might bash me for that, but hey, it gets the job done. Another thing too, I recently bought was these Proline Big Daddies, and I mean they are pretty massive, and you can actually see how much wider they are. But the only thing I don't like about them is that you have all of this extra just rubber. That's the only thing I don't like about it. So I was doing some research on some of the Slash pages and actually came across Corey Graham at Graham Racing Products, who actually hooked me up with some 3D printed liners. So if you're in the market for some 3D liners for, he can do short course wheels, so 2.2 by 3.0s. He can do the DE Outlaws. He can do the Big Daddies. Pretty much every tire available. Definitely hit him up. His name's Corey Graham on Facebook. Graham Racing Products. He'll hook you up really nice. Awesome customer service. Super responsive. And I believe he does a couple of other things as far as if you have a typical Slash based car, he does the ESC relocating mounts, and a bunch of other cool things. So anyway, hit him up and tell him I sent you. My name is Corey also, so just tell him the other Corey sent you. But yeah, after adding these, I mean, let's see what I'll focus here. I mean, there's even tire wear all the way across this tire, and I was really surprised because I've seen a lot of guys run these without any sort of like belts, and they're just ripping these tires all the way down the middle just because they're expanding so much, because there's a lot of rubber here. And yeah, it really helped it. It still balloons a little bit, but obviously not as much as it would if I didn't have those liners in there. But yeah, it's a good looking tire. I did buy some accent chrome paint and just kind of added it along the bead here and a couple of accents inside, so give it a little bit more depth. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I still have my drag body, I guess, just the one I go out and test with, and just so I can keep my other one nice and pretty and clean. Yes, it does have a couple of battle scars now, but you know, that's what this body's for, just to go out and test with, maybe win a couple races with. It did take a little bit of damage up here in the front when I hit the curb. It kind of punctured the front bumper here, but it's not going to affect it too much. But yeah, thanks guys for the new subscribers to the channel. If you see anything on here you want to learn more about, just hit me up, and I'll kind of add that to the channel. But as far as this car's came a long way since my first video, I will say. But yeah, it's a solid setup. It's probably a very unorthodox. People have been kind of asking me what have I done to this car, and the list is so long. It's taken me about 10 months to get to where it is now. But yeah, the simple stuff is have good bearings, and you can do all of this with a basic Traxxas low center of gravity chassis. I was just bored being in quarantine for so long that I've cut and chopped this body so many times, but somehow it's been working. So, but yeah, thanks guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and we'll catch you on the next one. Later.